Welcome back, everybody. As you probably guessed from the title of the video, we're going over this pistol right here that's in my hands. This is a Sig Sauer M18. This is not any regular old M18 though. This is a commemorative edition M18. So basically, this gun here is configured exactly how it was submitted for the Army's MHS trials. They submitted the M17, which was adopted, and then of course the M18, which is just a shortened version of it. That was adopted as well. And this is one of 5,000 that was released for civilian sales out into the public. So the folks over at Gun Zone Deals did send this one out for review. So big thank you to them. If you guys haven't checked them out, please do so. But basically today we're going to go over this pistol, the details of it, what's different between it and a standard M18 that you could buy anywhere out there right now, why the Army wanted some of the things that are on here, those sorts of things, and basically just kind of wrap it up with how it's performed and what I think of it overall. Unfortunately, at the time this video is being released, all 5,000 of the commemorative edition M18s are sold out. So if you want one, you're going to have to pick it up on an online auction site, which is why the sponsor of today's video is Gunspot. So for folks that haven't used Gunspot, it's an online auction site, as you can imagine. And basically you can set up your account. It's very, very quick. And you can either buy or bid on or sell items that you have, that you want, etc., including pistols, rifles, suppressors, machine guns, basically anything firearms related, scopes, etc., you can buy over there at Gunspot. So again, big thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. And if you're looking for one of these commemorative editions, check them out. I bet they have some over there. So from the factory, the gun ships out in a cardboard box. It's the exact same cardboard box that is actually shipped to the military when they order it as well. So again, they're trying to just replicate exactly what was fielded to the military. So it comes with 3 magazines, so you get 2 21-round magazines here, and then you get 1 flush fit 17-round magazine. A few things about that are nice. Obviously, the flush fit is good if you want to carry it, and it does have that little cutout there on the grip, so that way if there is a double feed malfunction and you can't just drop your mag, you can grip and rip it there, and the same is true even with the 21-rounders. Additionally, it has that witness hole. So that way it actually lets you know that your 21st round is in there, like this magazine it is, this one it is not, which is nice. A lot of magazines that have those sort of extended base plates don't include that feature. One thing that's different again on this pistol versus most of your commercial variants out there is that it has the FDE controls. The safety switch here are slide lock, slide release, takedown lever, magazine release, and trigger all have a FDE finish on there. Now that was what went out with the first batch of pistols ordered by both the Army and the Air Force, but both branches have now switched black over to black. Just so you know that, you can see the controls are mirrored there on the opposite side. Additionally, we have our serial number plate there, and it has the M18 designation as well as a serial number 1 through 5,000. Again, because only 5,000 were made. It also has that little dot matrix there that military uses to track inventory. So that would not be present on a standard, commercially available variant of the M18. And our rear sight there has orange files instead of green, which again would be standardized on the commercial versions. And then of course it's still going to be green there up front. With the differences out of the way, let's talk about the M18 pistol itself. Number one, it is a good all-around size, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people think that as well. Has good capacity, obviously 17 or 21 plus 1 if you wanted to carry it. That 17-round flush fit mag is nice. The way they do their frame is also nice, and the fact that it allows you to strip and rip the magazine should you get a double feed. Some guns don't have that, and it can be problematic. Have this nice beaver tail on there, prevents you getting slide bite if you have really large hands. Does have a ambidextrous safety there, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I know some folks are. It is a striker fired gun, so in my opinion that's kind of a redundant thing, but again, it was what the military wanted, and Sig gave it to them. We do have our takedown lever there and slide stop, slide release, which is nice. I shoot with a high thumbs forward grip, and I've never accidentally actuated it, which is something that I do like, whereas on a P226, for example, I actuate it like every 3 rounds. It's not the gun's fault, it's the way I grip it in my hands. But on this one, I've never had that issue, so I do like that. Our takedown lever there up front that we will get to here in just a second, and we do have a nice large trigger guard which makes sense for a military pistol. It allows for easier use in cold conditions where folks may be wearing gloves and things like that. So it's nice in that regard. In terms of the actual trigger itself, it has that slight take up there, which really has nothing to it, and then a wall, and then a break. It's definitely not the best striker-fired trigger out there, particularly on the current ones, or the post-recall ones, if you will. It's got a little bit of sponginess to it, but it's got a good reset there. I'll give them that. It's definitely a shootable trigger. In terms of, from a military perspective, it's certainly much more shootable than, say, like the M9 from just a trigger interaction for most shooters. Most shooters simply aren't very good at handling the double action, single action type of interface. This, of course, takes that away. So there is that. Additionally, compared to an M9, that thumb safety is much better, much more intuitive than the M9's backwards safety, at least as how many people view it anyway. I tend to agree with them on that front. We do have that squared off trigger guard, so for folks that like to shoot like that and get a little bit more leverage up there on the front, you can do so. We do have our 1913 rail there up front for adding lights, lasers, accessories, all of those sorts of things. The slide on this gun is stainless steel, and that's important for a couple reasons. Number one is going to be that it does have a PVD finish on there, and PVD has pros and cons to it. So the nice thing about it is that you can get really any color you want with a PVD finish, and obviously it looks great. The downside of PVD, this is my personal opinion based on all the things I've read, is that it's not as durable in terms of corrosion resistance, hardness, those sorts of things as, say, like a nitrided finish or a chrome finish or any other number of finishes out there. However, like I said, it's a stainless steel slide, so that mitigates a lot of it. So if it was a carbon steel slide, I would say that was something for concern, but being that it's stainless steel, you really don't have to worry about it anyway in terms of corrosion resistance, because you're not going to have any problems with it having that stainless finish on there. Moving up top, we do have a loaded chamber indicator there. Obviously, like we talked about, it does have tritium night sights, and this plate here is cut for the Leupold Delta Point Pro. However, there are many different aftermarket options out there if you guys want to add an optic. Now, the downside of it, in my opinion, is that you lose your rear sight when you remove the plate, rather. Again, I know there are aftermarket solutions for that incorporate a rear sight. I just think, from a design perspective, I would have liked to see you keep your rear sight, still have the ability to mount optics. But again, that's the way the military spec'd it out, and SIG just delivered what they want. Like all of the P320 systems, this is a modular pistol, meaning that the actual pistol itself is just the chassis system that's inside there. So you can swap out your grip, slide, any number of things, as long as you keep that chassis system, which is where your serial number is. It is, modular in that regard. So you only need one gun, and you can set it up in a number of different configurations. I would imagine with the M18, there's probably not a lot of guys doing that. But with like the M17 or the P320 standards, it's very, very common. You see there, we can lock our slide to the rear, rotate our takedown lever, and then at that point, your slide will come off for general maintenance. Now for your soldiers, airmen, etc. in the field, with the recoil spring and barrel removed is as far as you're going to take it down for general maintenance. Of course, at the armor level, like I said, you could remove this takedown lever here and start popping your entire chassis out and really going to work if you want to. That said, it's not needed for normal maintenance. Taking a look there on the inside, you can see that we do have good lines on there. One thing about PVD too is that if it has any type of like chatter marks or manufacturing imperfections, it will show it. So you can see there SIG's doing a very good job in terms of their machine tolerances, those sorts of things. Our barrel, of course, does have a nitrided finish on there. It has a nice target crown out there on the end. And then the feed ramp is nice and large for feeding hollow points. One other thing about the MHS pistol specs is that it had to be able to feed hollow points reliably, which was something that was different, of course, from previous military doctrine focused on using ball ammo. And that is not the case. I've fed it plenty of hollow points, and it's fed them just fine. Reassembly is just as you saw it there, and once it's locked to the rear, just rotate your lever, and you're back and ready to go. Speaking of ready to go, I'm sure some folks will ask what holsters the military are using with it. Well, I've seen several from photos I looked at, but basically all of them appear to be variants of the Safariland ALS system. But for my holster use during this video, we went with this Blackhawk, which has a very cool retention system. This one here, of course, is set up to have the TLR1 light on there. And basically it would be in there, it would be locked in place until you actually hit this thumb drive here and pulled it out, and that's how you break the retention here on this Blackhawk series. But I've used this a ton and really do like it. I do like the fact they have the optics cut there on there as well. At this point, we've covered most of the important details of the pistol. Typically, we talk about price point, but like I mentioned earlier, they're not available unless you could find them online. And right now, the M17s, which came out a couple years before these, are commanding $1,500 and up, just depending on condition, etc. And I expect here within the next year or so, because obviously the market right now in 2021 is just crazy, I'd imagine that's probably going to be the case here once everything settles down, hopefully, if it does, in the future for the M18s as well. And of course, over time, that value is just going to continue to go up. Speaking of that, like collectability aspect of it, they do give you the opportunity to register your commemorative issue over there on SIG's website. And when you do, they will send you out a certificate of authenticity. They also offer you the opportunity, once you do that, to buy a commemorative like display box if that's what you're into. It's a mahogany, I believe, wood box. It's beautiful. But if you don't want to shoot your gun and you just want to hold on to it as an investment or as a collectible, then that's an option for you as well. This particular pistol, I shot like 850 or 900 rounds through it. I shoot all of my guns. That's what I do. Majority of those, of course, were Minuteman munitions. We also put some Hornady critical defense as well as some Federal HST 147 grains through it. We're going to see how it does with some hollow points. We have some critical duty 135 grain in there. Should run fine, but we'll see. Can't do better than that. Had zero malfunctions of any kind. It ate everything up that we fed it, which is to be expected. If you look at the mean per round stoppages in the Army's MHS testing, the gun did well. There's certainly always going to be the people that will argue that the Glock should have one. That's a video for another day. But both guns did do well. SIG came in with a better price point, and really that's kind of the history to it. Now, as I intimated earlier, the original batch of guns that went out had this type of finish to it, and they've switched over to the black ones now in the M17s. I'm not sure on the 18s, I don't believe so, but I know on the M17s, a lot of those first guns that were issued out to the Army were actually recalled back to SIG and replaced because they updated some of the internals for safety. Because for folks that don't know, SIG went through I think they called it an upgrade process, basically to make the gun more drop safe. So they did that. Now, some folks out there still believe the guns will accidentally fire on their own. Since they've done the recall, my personal opinion from all the data I've seen, basically all the incidents I've seen have been caused by something being in the trigger guard that shouldn't have been there. So you can't really knock SIG for that, in my opinion. So there is that. Yeah, it's a reliable gun. It's an accurate gun. I've had zero issues with it. If you want one and you don't want to spend $1,500 or more, you can pick one up that just has the black controls. That is a much more reasonable price point, and we will put a link down below in the video description for folks who are looking to do that. But yeah, all in all, it's been a solid gun. Again, thanks to Gun Zone Deals for sending it out, and thank you to all of you guys, of course, for watching it, because without you, they wouldn't send it out, right? So there is that. If you guys are subscribed, thank you very much. If you're not and you like this type of video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you've done that and hit the notification bell and the like button and all those things, and you're still not seeing 2 to 4 videos here a week on the channel, you can sign up for my email list at the website that you see here. That email is just all of the videos since the last email, so that way there's no social media giant censoring your eyes from my content. Additionally, if you're looking to pick one of these up and you want to find one on a good price, you can sign up for my daily deals email at the link here on your screen. Basically, I send out the daily deals as the name implies, and if one of these, obviously not the commemorative edition, goes on sale for a good price, we'll send it out to you guys in that email, so that way you can take advantage of that price drop. And I think that's pretty much all I've got for you. Again, if you're not subscribed and you like the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thank you as always for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.